completely. As far as he's been doing this for 30-some years, so it really is great. So also available at the library and stuff like that, so no problem at all. We have a few of his other books up here too, so you can take a look at them. All right. Also too, we have a small table with just a few things that we do about eating and stuff like that, the nutritional yeast, for example, something unusual you wouldn't know. Also too, the soup tonight, we have a soup tonight, and I used a vegetarian no chicken broth. Now, I'll pass this around as you look at it. Seems kind of strange, but the idea is it has a chicken kind of flavor, but no meat or anything, of course, in it, right? So I'll show that around to you. It's available at Kroger's, Publix, and so on. You can kind of take a look and just pass it around. We try to introduce some things that might be a little different, you haven't thought about before. In particular, somebody says, well, I always make chicken soup, it's really great, I love the taste. Well, this will help a little bit.
What is it called again?
You'll get it in a minute.
Okay.
All right, so that's really good. So hopefully that. Should we try to call him on the phone maybe? Okay. So we're trying to contact him by phone too, so this happens. Okay. If something does go wrong, again, we'll just do something else. It's all right, so your time won't be wasted. All right? I had mentioned about the great people helping us out by providing handouts and stuff like that. Before you go, you'll get some handouts that will have recipes in it and stuff like that, as well as some very, very good tips. It's really great because you can just make copies of those and pass them out to neighbors and friends. So it really is very nice, and get people to know what you're doing and stuff like that. Many people who start this, they are a little shy about talking to other people. And the idea is, that's fine. If that's your personality, then don't change. If it's not your personality, you really want to talk, then go ahead and do it. All right? The idea is, though, particularly for family, is the fact that typically the harder you push on something like this, and for somebody who doesn't want to hear it, the harder they'll push back. So the idea of what we often recommend is you changing your lifestyle is going to make a difference in you. Go ahead and do it, and when the people that you know see the difference in you, they will come to you and ask you how they might be able to achieve the same outcome. Then you got a good chance to tell somebody something that they're going to believe and understand and so on. So that's really great. In any case, you're talking to somebody or something like that, you feel as though I can be of any help, please don't hesitate in contacting me. A phone call, an email, whatever. I'll try to do whatever I possibly can. It doesn't necessarily have to be just in Savannah. I mean, I email with people all around the world, frankly, and offer some tips here and there and so on. That was my stomach. But so I'm happy to help if we possibly can. Also, too, the library, because they allow us to use the room and stuff like that. If you ever get a chance to say thanks to the library for allowing this kind of thing to happen, please do so. It's always good for them to hear some positive things, because I'm at the other end talking about this or that or the other thing, so that's the way it goes.
What is your name, sir?
My name is Jeff Adams.
And are you part of an organization?
All right. She's asking me if I'm part of an organization. All right. Many of you know my story, but basically I'm from Rochester, New York. All right. I started being part of an organization like this in Rochester when I changed my diet, all right, in order to improve my health. And then when I moved to Savannah permanently a little more than 8 years ago, I decided, after looking around and seeing people that were seen to be much sicker than actually in Rochester, I decided I got to do something, so this is what I did. Okay. All right, you'll get my information, contact information on all the handouts. So my name, my home phone, my cell phone, and our email address is on there. So you can contact me at any time with any questions or whatever you like. We're happy to talk.
And the organization is called Heartbeats for Life. That's what the group's called.
So is it a business organization?
No, it's not. The only thing that we do that we actually sell, so to speak, is the classes that I mentioned earlier, the ones that start tomorrow, our 7-week class, and it's very intense and so on. Many people here have been through it. And it's like coming to 3 years worth of meetings.
How much is it?
Condensed, okay? We'll be glad to talk to you about that. All right? And Carolyn Gifford, who is right there, also helps me do it, and she can talk to you as well. All right? And one thing you want to know is the statistics I mentioned are actually watered down a little bit. They're actually better than that, if you can actually believe that. It's just so great. It just really is. I mean, it's so great for us to be able to see people change their lives literally week to week. So it really works well. We're basically a nonprofit because we don't make any money. Everything else is free. You know, we pay for all our stuff. Nobody gives us much. I mean, some of our members do offer a little stipend every once in a while, and that's great, obviously. And we do get support every once in a while. But it's just really to help people do it, and just, you know, to get better. I mean, it really does. It's a matter of changing your lifestyle, basically. And it's not a diet as such. It's just changing what you do. When you do that, it's going to completely change your life more than likely. The oldest person we've had do anything was 87 years old, and she improved her life so much. Improved her life so much, it's just absolutely fantastic. She's now 91 or 2, I don't remember her birthday is now, and still doing it. And with, you know, the only regret she has is the fact she didn't do this when she was 6 years old. You know, get the idea? I mean, she just wanted to do it the rest of her life, really. And she's just very sorry she didn't do it all her life. Interesting. We have all kinds of people and all kinds of devices. Typically we do a test, but McDougall mentioned to me today that he wasn't able to do a test because he had something else going on. I'll just see you at 6:30, which is 3:30 Pacific time because he's in California. One of the things about Dr. McDougall, right, how he got into this basically, is he became a doctor and so on and so on and so on, and then landed a practice in Hawaii. And so that was great. And what he did, he went to one of the plantations, and what was very good for him because there was several hundred people in a plantation, all right, and they stayed there basically. So he treated everything. He was the only doctor. So if you had a toothache, you went to him. You broke your leg, you went to him. You had heart disease, you go to him. You had diabetes, you go to him. So he did everything. He loved it. And one day he went in his office, and he got to know people on a one-to-one basis because there's not that many people around. Right? One day, as he was talking to one of his friends, the friend says, gee, he says, you know, do you think changing your diet would ever have anything to do with health? And McDougall told him what every doctor tells you almost. Look, I went to some of the best medical schools in the world. Not an ounce of nutrition training was I given, and therefore the answer is it can't do much for you at all. The guy says, huh, that's interesting. He says, but what if you're wrong? And Dr. McDougall says, yeah, I'll prove I'm right. Okay, I'll prove it to you. So he started collecting information from everybody he saw, what they ate and so on and so forth. And it didn't take too long at all. He realized that people eating this kind of group of food, basically an ethnic kind of thing, right? That kind of group of food was getting those kind of diseases. Another one with a different group of food, those kind of diseases. So he started doing 2 and 2 together, started looking into it, and changed his life completely around. These doctors that are in these books, their lives basically went the same way. They were taught from medical school, because they don't get nutrition training, what to do and how to treat the symptoms, okay? Not how to stop the disease. So when you see, you know, buy a blue ribbon for cancer for the cure, we want to raise money for the cure. You don't want to raise money for the cure so much as you want to raise money to prevent it, period, okay? And that's what we're all about, prevention, okay? That's what you want, all right? Does this help when you already have, it does. It does like crazy, okay? Does it help you with diabetes? It does. It reverses it entirely, right? It helps everything. But it's better not to have gone through that at all, right? So prevention is what you want. And as I mentioned, the 87-year-old woman, you can't start any younger than you can today if you haven't done it. And again, we're here to help you, okay? We're here, we've been through these stories. We've been through everything. We've been through the people that tried and failed and so on and so forth, and try again and fail again, and so on. You know, we try to provide all the support we can. And we're here, that's our goal. That's my goal in life, is to do that. And so, you know, make me happy. All right? Call me. Let's do it. Okay.
Here he is. Okay. Hey, Dr. McDougall. Okay, so just a second. We gotta change computers here, but we got you on, so. Be right with you.
Right about 7 o'clock, we're going to serve, and I try not to disrupt things, all right? We're going to serve a little bowl of soup that we have, and then after he's done at 7:30, we'll have a little dessert, okay? Now, I hope everybody's got at least one question that you can ask Dr. McDougall. If you don't know of a question, think of one, anything you want, and please come up and ask him. The more we have, the better off we are, the better off it is for him. So please try to do that, all right? If you have a question, we'd like to have you beginning by standing here and going this way. You have a question? Yeah. You have a question? Absolutely great. Okay. Question? Get up there. Ask the question. Come on.
Could you hear me? Okay. I don't know why, I was trying to call you on my computer, but you were on Twitter, and we're trying to get you on the Instagram.
Dr. McDougall's written several cookbooks and things, and his wife, Mary, too, I should mention. All right. Very good. Good resource, again, available through the library system and so on.
Okay. We are in Skype.
I hope nobody here is a mind reader, because my mind is...
Don't be negative now.
That's right.
Be positive.
Thank you very much.
Right.
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, the last time we did this, Lauren, raise your hand. All right? Okay? All right? The one that did a dip for us and stuff with her brother, right? All right? She come up and she said, I told Dr. McDougall, I said, the first person we have for you doesn't have a question.
All right.
Oh, never mind.
All right. So I will turn the phone off now. All right. Bye. Okay. So everything's good?
Fine.
Yes? No?
Yes.
Okay.
Q&A.
Well, let's talk. Is this the same audience that I've had the privilege of talking to before?
Some, yes.
Okay. So then I probably don't have to give much of an introduction. I'm just to tell you, I'm out here with all my grandkids skiing in Tahoe, California, having a good time. And, yeah, but taking an hour out to talk to you is just gonna be fun. Why are you still looking at the screen? Why don't you point me towards the audience?
We're trying to make you bigger, but you're already pretty big, so.
I'm big enough.
Trying to get bigger and we can't see us. So
I can see you just fine. I can hear you just fine.
All right, can you see our audience?
I can see them all.
Okay, there we
They
go.
look pretty.
How many fingers not holding up?
Great. All right. Well, anyway, for those who, okay, Jeffrey, you want me to say anything, or you want to start out?
I was just gonna ask if you just wanna start with questions, or you have something you wanna say, that's fine, whatever you want.
Well, you know, if you're all familiar with me, that would be fine. Let me just say a couple words to the people who are here new. You know, I'm a medical doctor. I'm an internist. I'm not an alternative medicine doctor or a holistic doctor. I just practice standard medicine. I treat dietary diseases by fixing the problem. The reason people are sick in our country is they're being poisoned by rich foods. And specifically, to make it easy for you, people are being poisoned by animal foods and vegetable oils. And if you just eliminate those two categories of food, you will cure most of your ailments. And what you eat instead is you eat starch. Rice, corn, potatoes, beans, peas, lentils, just like all the other people in the world have done for, you know, 1,000,000 years. You live on starches. 90% of your diet could be rice, or it could be beans or corn. You know, that's the way people have always lived until they became rich, and then they started eating meat. Meat was you know, the primary culprit, but also, you know, desserts and sugars and oils and stuff like that. But in our society, the biggest problem is the animal foods, you know, the fish and the chicken and the beef and the pork and the vegetable oils. So you just don't eliminate them, and instead you eat beans and rice and corn. We were up on the hill just a few minutes ago at Mid Station at North Star. They have a burrito place, and boy, there were 15 of us, including babies. Babies weren't there, but the 10 adults that we had, or bigger children and adults, we got burrito bowls, and we kind of leave off all the meat, all the sour cream, and all the cheese. And so we had a big bowl of pinto beans and black beans and guacamole and rice and lettuce, and that was the lunch for us, for each of us. And by the way, it cost $120. So it's not like it's cheap food there on the hill. But at home, you know, a similar meal for your family would probably cost you like $10 to feed 12 or 14 people. But that's what you eat, and if you eat those foods, you'll get thin, your bowels will work, your cholesterol come down, your risk of heart disease drops dramatically, you know, almost to zero, depends on when you start doing this. And you get off your blood pressure pills and your diabetic pills, and almost always, our studies show you get off about 90% of the time, people get off. And, you know, you just get on with your life. And you stop going to the doctor, you stop going to the hospital, and, you know, it doesn't solve all problems, but 90% of them it solves. So that's kind of what I do. It costs no money. You can go to my website, drmcdougall.com, and everything's free there. All the descriptions of your ailments, and a menu plan, and probably 500 recipes, and a discussion board that will help you, lead you through the process. People will help you, and that's, you know, it's all free at drmcdougall.com. So it's kind of your choice. You know, you can continue. I look at this audience that I see right here. Looks like you've been listening to me well for a long time because you look very healthy. But you have a choice. You can stay fat and sick and on a bunch of drugs and not feel good, or you can go back to the diet that human beings were intended to eat, which 9.5 to 10 billion people living on planet Earth for the last, you know, for all of our history, ate was a starch-based diet. Okay, I'd be happy to answer questions.
All right, good evening, Dr. McDougall.
How you doing?
All right, my name is Stephen Cobb, and I know too much of a good thing is a bad thing. So, and
I also understand that that sugar is horrible, it's also like poison to our bodies, with inflammation and diabetes and everything else, the side effects of it. So, what do you consider a serving of fruit?
Well, it's less poisonous than is meat.
Great.
Okay. What is a serving of fruit? I don't know. One nectarine, an apple, a bunch of grapes. I don't think it's too specific. But I do want to point out that sugar is not health food. It rots your teeth, raises triglycerides, but it's not the culprit it has made into being. This is a way of diverting your attention from the real killers, which are the animal foods, the beef and the pork and the cheese. Industry, they knew they were on the line 20 years ago as far as being sanctioned, and because the public knew that food was killing us. So as an orchestrated move, industry threw sugar out as the scapegoat. Not that sugar is healthy, but sugar is not the problem. So they diverted the public's attention to sugar and flour, and which would be good if you could give up those things. But people in the U.S. are focused on sugar and flour, and they're missing the elephant that's in the room, which are the cows and the pigs and the chickens and the fishes and the vegetable oils. I mean, if you eliminated beef alone in the world, you'd change the world. You'd change our rush towards global warming. You save the planet. And so that's what happened is that you've been focused on sugar and flour, not that they're health foods, so that you'll stop looking at the real problems.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening. It's nice to meet you over Skype. I feel like I'm meeting a celebrity.
Oh, yeah?
That's
good.
Well, I've been vegan for 8 years now, and in that time I've developed a passion to want to help people cure their illnesses through plant-based nutrition. And so, do you have any advice or recommendations for someone who wants to pursue a career in that field?
Okay, what I heard was you'd like to do a career. And you look very young, and it doesn't make any difference. Even if you're, again, I'm not saying you look 30 or 40, but even if you're 30 or 40, you could start a new career. I mean, they take new medical students who are in their 30s and 40s. So age is not really a limit. But you are obviously young enough to start to get a career. And what I'd recommend is, I love being a doctor. I just think that's the greatest profession in the world, to help people. And so when any young person asks me what to do, it would be what I do, because I have so much fun doing what I do. I didn't when I used to just push drugs. People did terrible and it wasn't fun. But over the last 38 years, since I've been changing people's diet, it's really been a lot of fun, because people get off the pills and get their health back and lose weight. So I think being a doctor is a really cool thing. But if you didn't want to do that, or didn't think you had the time, or it really wasn't your particular interest, your dietitian is a good field. You need to get a legitimate ticket. You've got to get some type of stamp of approval that says that you know lots of stuff, and you need to be, I think, registered with the state as being a certified dietitian or a doctor. You could be a PhD in nutrition. So I would just pick some field that particularly interested you. I wouldn't mention diet. Well, it's different than it was 10 years ago or 30 years ago. If a student mentioned diet as far as being part of health, they were ostracized. But these days, I think a lot of students can talk about food, and the fact that food has something to do with constipation or indigestion. So I used to advise students not to say anything about food when they're going to school. Just get the degree, learn all the stuff they want you to learn, and then when you get out, you get your license, then just go for it and just beat them up as much as you can. You know, it helps as many patients as you can. So good. I encourage you to shoot for the top. Whatever you think you could possibly do, you know, borrow the money, you know, do whatever you have to do whatever's necessary to get that degree, because you'll have so much fun in return.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, good luck to you.
Hi, Dr. McDougall, I'm Beth.
Go
I've
ahead.
been following your program for 4 weeks now. I'm a
Oh,
real
good.
newbie, but I feel wonderful. And
I'm glad to hear that.
it's one of the best things I've ever done. I have a quick question, something that was said in one of our group meetings recently about.
Well, I hope you're eating a lot of food.
I am. I'm not hungry. It's great. I'm enjoying the variety of the things that I'm getting to prepare.
And remember, you gotta eat mostly starch. About 90% of your diet needs to be starch.
Thank goodness that is so not hard for me. That's one of the things that's saving me, because I do love starch. I like the whole grain, so that's proving to be really great. In one of our meetings, it was noted that if someone does go off the rails of this program, if you slip up, not that I'm intending to do that, but if someone does slip up, that it takes your body quite a long time to recover from that, from suddenly, you know, eating too much oil or
No.
too much.
Your body will, it comes right back. Your body's always fighting for good health. And so if you say slip up, you know, you're gonna suffer because of the burdens. But once you get back on track, the body just keeps getting healthy. So, but it's easier to be 100% than it is 90%, because you always have those tempting foods. It's kind of like being an alcoholic or a tobacco addict. You know, a little bit you just can't do. So I find that people will, you know, make the decision that they. And there are two categories. Remember, I told you, animal foods and oils. If they'll make the decision not to eat those anymore, instead eat starch, and they just make it 100%, I'm not going to do it. And pretty quick you realize this is the best food around. There's nothing tastier. So I was just thinking, I did a show called The Doctor Show, TV show. You probably, some of you may watch it. And it'll play here in the next couple of weeks. And it was about a guy that was going to go on an all-potato diet for a year. And you know, I talked to him about that, how that's perfectly safe, has all the nutrients that they need. And one of the things that I wanted to mention, but I forgot, was The Martian. The Martian. Do you know what I'm talking about?
The movie?
The movie The Martian. Matt Damon, what did he live on? You know, he lived on potatoes for a year. So, you know, you got to think in those kind of simplistic terms. Is your body just does fine on a simple diet. You can live on rice and a few vegetables. You can live on potatoes alone, like Matt Damon did. You can live on sweet potatoes alone. You don't make this a big deal. You just, you know, find the starches you like. And I'd say, Mary and I and our family, we just have maybe 5 or 6 different things that we eat. And it makes it, you know, you don't have to think about what you're going to eat. You love the food. The food just tastes so good. And, you know, makes it real simple. But we have about 4,000 recipes published. And probably 500 are free on our website.
Yes, I've downloaded quite a few. Thank you for those. Appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
So keep at it.
I am. Thank you.
It is just so simple and so cost-free. Initially, people, you know, they can't believe it for a whole bunch of reasons. But if you just understand that this is the way people have lived for millions of years. Let's see, how long have people been around? I don't know. Homo sapiens, maybe 250,000 years. Then we have evidence of hominoids. You know, pre-Homo sapien people that lived 2.5 million years ago on this kind of diet. So this has been going on a long time. It's time tested to live on, you know, plant foods, basically starches.
Hi, Dr.
Okay.
I'm Anna Becker. It's a wonderful pleasure to meet you. I've been vegan for 4 years, and I first started after watching the video Forks Over Knives. And
Oh, good.
And I was afraid of
I was afraid of the starches. And when I got onto your program and was able to eat the starches, the potatoes, the corn and everything, I felt so much better, gave me so much more energy, it's wonderful. But anyhow, I watched a DVD of yours recently where you and your wife cook together, and we get wonderful recipes. And one of the things that surprised me was the unit on depression, and how potato soup was an antidepressant. And I'm curious, you have other favorite things that are antidepressants in the high carbohydrate field?
Well, I did mention food. Animal foods create depression, and I gave you mechanisms. This is work that was done at MIT by Richard and Judith Wortman. It's a very good science sense, so food is involved very much in depression. Also, sunshine, exercise, and getting too much sleep causes depression. And there's a whole section, actually, it's in, well, you can look it up, I think it's my March 2004 newsletter about depression and the things you can do naturally to help. But, you know, eating well, exercising, and looking good. Like when you stand in front of the mirror in the morning with your clothes off, and you look at this beautiful person, you go, oh man, am I off for a good day?
I love that video. I made potato soup for lunch today, it was delicious.
Good.
Thank you, Dr.
Okay, go ahead. Speak up next time.
What do you call cheese that's not yours?
I can see somebody, but I can't hear them. I mean, I can hear them, but I can't see them. Is this a little person?
Pull the screen down a
Cheese
little more.
that's not yours.
What is not mine?
What do you call cheese that's not yours?
What do I call cheese that is not mine? I know what I call cheese that's not mine.
Nacho cheese.
Just so you know, Jonah and his sister made nacho cheese dip for us tonight, and we're all been eating it. All right?
Oh, good.
Yeah, very. There's lots of potatoes in it and stuff like that. Obviously, no cheese whatsoever. All right. It does have some nutritional yeast in it to help give it a little cheesy flavor.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, Mary used to make that too. That's good.
So that's what he's.
Good.
That's what he's
We-
saying. You know, we wanted to start out with the nacho cheese kind of thing. So it's great.
Well, good. I'm glad you got at least a good start now. You know, your mom and dad have taught you some good things. Most of our kids, they continue to eat well, but they rebel a little bit here and there. And the grandkids now, when we went through this with our children, you know, we raised them on a healthy diet, and that's basically all they got. And they went through their rebellious periods. But all of them, we have them up here with us now at the ski vacation, and they all eat the same, which is the kind of diet that I recommend. And now we're going through the grandchildren, you know, they get into the teen years, they start to rebel a little bit, but, you know, they know the basics. Okay, back to straight eating.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Okay. Okay. Next, please. Talk nice enough.
All right, hi, Dr. Whipple, how are you tonight?
Hello, welcome.
Hello, nice to meet you. My name is Betty. This is my first lecture I've been to. And I would like to know, okay, I would like to know, how do you feel about CBD oil?
I don't know what kind of oil that is. What kind of oil?
CBD, cannabidiol oil? Heard of it?
Is that like from the pot plant?
Yeah. It's hemp oil. Yeah, it's like hemp oil. It's from the hemp.
Where are you going to put it in your food, or are you going to use it as a medicine?
Oh, well, since you've never heard of it, then, okay, I'll skip it.
No, I don't get involved in marijuana. I don't get involved in any medicines, herbal medicines, things like that. But I know what you're talking
Okay. All right,
about, and I
I
have
have
no
another question.
expertise
I
on it.
have another question for you. How do you feel about coconut oil? Do you think it's?
I think coconut oil is toxic.
Yeah.
It's toxic, coconut itself is rich and full of saturated fats, but I think the coconut meat, as you naturally get it out of the coconut, is okay as long as you don't need to lose weight. It's very high in fat, so as a result, you'll easily gain weight. But the oil is different than the whole coconut meat. When you strip the oil out of flour or flaxseed, when you strip the oil out, all you have is oil. You have no vitamins, minerals, proteins, nothing else that is supportive from the plant. And so you're giving a drug at best, and at worst, a poison. These oils are cancer promoting, heart disease promoting, fattening, cause grease. All right, let me know when you're back. All right, back, pretty close.
Yeah. One thing I'm going to interrupt just to mention, because you are freezing up from time to time, but I believe it's the connection here at the library, which of course we're forced to use, so I apologize for that for everybody here as well. Also too, we just served a little bit of soup because we have to do it at a certain time, and anybody wants any more, you come to the kitchen, you can get it. All right, so I just want to kind of, I apologize for that, but we're doing the best we can.
Well, why don't you keep your video off? It's off right now, and
We can see you.
I'll just keep my video on, and maybe we'll do better. We'll have to carry less information.
Okay.
Want to try that?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. I'm on the Wi-Fi here, if you can get off it, might help.
Dr. McDougall, I'm Richard Goddard. Nice to see you again from the last session here. I have a coworker that has a brother that's in hospice right now, dying from heart disease. And I've been talking to him a little bit about the whole food plant-based eating, and he's trying to give him a little more information. Is there any particular thing that you would suggest for him to eat to possibly help out in this situation?
Absolutely. Look at my December 2013 newsletter, and you'll learn about Dr. Walter Kempner. He invented the rice diet, which was used at Duke University for 7 decades. It actually was the major support of Duke University for 2 decades. It's called the rice diet. And for someone like your brother-in-law, the rice diet could give him more years. It's a very strict diet. It's rice, fruit juice, and sugar. But it takes people who have extreme heart failure and gives them life again. It's my December 2013
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
newsletter. So, it was once a very popular, very famous thing.
I'll pass that on to him then. Thank you very much.
Well, if he does it, he'll experience results beyond anything he's ever hoped for.
Hello, Dr. McDougall. Thank you again. I've talked with you before. We've been successful following your plan, and our nephew, he just had this 2 years in a row better eye reports from following your diet. So I want to thank you for that. And I want to ask you, for somebody with kidney disease, following this diet, is there a limit in the amount of beans or anything they can eat?
Yeah, I think so. Beans are easier on the kidneys than meat is, but protein has to be processed through the kidneys. Like, you remember when you eat asparagus, you smell asparagine in the toilet. So all the protein and amino acids have to be processed through the kidneys, and protein causes the kidneys extra work. So somebody with real kidney disease should limit their protein. Of course, all the animal protein needs to go, but they should limit their beans, peas, and lentils. In my newsletter, if you look under hot topics, there's a section called kidney disease, or just put it in search engine, put in kidney disease. It'll tell you a whole diet, the whole research behind using a healthy diet for kidney disease. And I'd also recommend that you remember the newsletter that I recommended to the last man for his brother, and that's the Kempner diet. That's the extreme in treating kidney disease. Walter Kempner took people that were hardly any kidney function left at all, and would put them on the rice diet. Again, this diet was at Duke University for 7 decades, and it's world famous. Of course, time has caused it to be not so famous anymore, but it has been a world famous diet for 70 years. The Kempner diet, and if you just look up on the internet, you'll find all kinds of things about it, but you can also go to my website, December 2013, and learn about Dr. Walter Kempner.
I appreciate to ask you again, my father died on dialysis, and for anybody here who knows anybody going through that, when someone's on dialysis, they tell them to drink whey, eat butter, everything we're not allowed to have. So what do you do if you're on dialysis?
Well, dialysis is a whole other thing. It's very difficult for people, once they get on into dialysis, to really do anything for themselves, because they're being managed by dialysis doctors and dialysis dietitians who really don't care about diet. They really don't know anything about diet. And their attitude is this dialysis machine will just take care of everything for the patient. So they'll get no support. It's hard, when you're on dialysis to follow a healthier diet. But I have some patients who do, because then they have to go to dialysis many fewer times a week and have much less dialysis. They also, have much less disease. They heal sores that they get with kidney disease. Prevents them from dying of heart disease, which is the #1 cause of death of people on dialysis. So, a really dedicated person could make a big difference for themselves as they're on dialysis. So they're not going to get off dialysis, but they can improve their life. The problem is to find any support in the medical business. As I say, they're just ignorant and uninterested. And they just like running their dialysis machines, which, by the way, if you'll notice in your community, you have a bunch of dialysis centers. Now, why do you think you have a bunch of dialysis centers? It's because you've got a lot of sick people that need kidney help, and it's a heck of a business. They make millions of dollars. So, there's no inspiration for doing the right thing, which is to help people with a good diet. You've got dialysis centers that are high-profit centers.
Hi, Dr. McDougall. My name's Kent. I know that plant-based eating can help prevent and reverse diseases. What role does heredity play in different diseases and different problems?
Well, heredity, it does play a role if you're going to stress yourself with unhealthy habits. But maybe 1 in 5,000 people has a real hereditary disease. You have tendencies, many people have tendencies, but you can't see those tendencies unless you do very burdensome things to your body. Like, for example, cigarette smoking. You could have 2 families, say the Smiths and the Jones, and you could have them smoke 2 packs of cigarettes a day, each family 200 people. One family, the Smiths, they maybe get lung cancer, and the Joneses, they get emphysema. So what do you say? That emphysema and lung cancer are inherited diseases? No, you take one step back and you say, it's really stupid to smoke. They wouldn't get one of these problems if they didn't smoke, either family. And it's the same thing with heart disease and family histories of breast cancer and colon cancer and diabetes. I mean, yeah, you have tendencies, but you'd never see them if you didn't eat the American diet. They'd never occur. These diseases are non-existent or were non-existent in Asia, Central America, many parts of the world that lived on starch-based diets up until, say, 30 years ago, 35 years ago. In China, you found no diabetes. 90% of the diet in China was rice. Today, the Chinese brag that they have the highest incidence of diabetes in the world. Over 12% of the people are diabetic, and half the population is pre-diabetic. So what changed in 35 years? Heredity? You know, it's the rich diet, and the Chinese are so wealthy. I mean, they're just phenomenal wealthy compared to Americans. And they just are buying all the rich foods, and they're getting fat and sick. So heredity is there, but it doesn't have to express itself. It's kind of up to you, and well, it really isn't up to you because you don't have the information. You've been so lied to by industry that you don't stand a chance. Which brings me to a short discussion I'd like to have with you before we finish. If you read this month's newsletter, my January 2016 newsletter, you'll read about how myself and a committee called the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine are suing the USDA over the dietary guidelines. The dietary guidelines recommend that you eat eggs, and they took limitations on the consumption of cholesterol out of the dietary guidelines, which were published January 7th, 2016. And this happened because the egg industry spent 20 years buying scientific research and quote scientists to tell the public and teach the public that eggs have nothing to do with heart disease. And so they convinced the Dietary Guidelines Advisory Committee to exclude limitations on cholesterol and to tell the public cholesterol does not matter. And this was all done by the egg industry. So we filed suit against the USDA, and hopefully this trial will come up in the next couple of months. And we're suing them because they allowed the egg industry to manipulate the dietary guidelines, which is illegal, immoral, and hopefully will beat their pants off. And someone they got all the money. That's the problem. Is they can buy scientific studies. If you read my January 2016 newsletter, you'll see how 92% of the research is paid for by the egg industry or one of the other cholesterol industries about cholesterol that was reviewed. 92%, and they just manipulate the studies so that they indicate that cholesterol in eating eggs is not harmful. Excuse me, we've known for 100 years that consuming eggs, which is the highest source of cholesterol that we come in contact with, it has 8 times more cholesterol than beef does. We know that eggs cause heart disease. But anyway, if we beat them, then we're going to take on the dairy industry next. And then one by one, if the little person, it's kind of a David and Goliath story. One by one, if we have the opportunity, if the public can hear what we have to say, we're going to take them down. And because we get all the truth, we have all the truth on our side. It's obvious even to the simplest person how they have lied and manipulated the research and how they hurt you and your family. I mean, killed your husband, made your kids sick, and we'll have our day in court. You could read the original lawsuit that we filed January 6th. 2016 against the United States Department of Agriculture.
Thank you.
Good evening, sir. How are you? Dr. McDougall?
Hi.
Great. I'm Carolyn, and I work with Jeff.
I'm fine because I'm spending. Okay.
I was saying that Jeff in doing our diabetes class. And so my question for you is, as a nutritionist,
Okay.
the heart
Carolyn,
rate,
that's good.
the heart rate that I have is that it is sometimes so difficult to reach people in talking with them and telling them how we can change their lives by helping them change their diet. They don't want to believe that it could be true. How can we reach folks?
Well,
I got a call today that one of my church members that I've been trying to talk to about his diet, he would tell me, oh, but my doctor...
you have to keep trying. Yeah, it's hard. We're trying to help the doctors to understand the truth. And doctors are changing and dietitians are changing. Everybody's changing. It's just too slow. What you have to do is kind of like when you go fishing, you know. If you don't put the line and the hook in the water, you got no chance of catching one. But, you know, if you don't talk to the patients, you'll never catch one. Maybe 1 out of 10 people you talk to will come back and say, I believe you. And our website is there to help. We have all the instructions. So I have my color picture book, which is a very valuable tool to teach people in a matter of 10 minutes what the problem is and how to solve it. It's called Dr. McDougall's Color Picture Book on food poisoning and how to cure it by eating beans, corn, rice, potatoes, and sweet potatoes. So that's a helpful tool. So I would just, you know, as long as you don't feel you're going to be hurt by anybody else, you know, like you're going to lose your job or whatever, every person that comes in that you counsel, you say to them, can I have just a few minutes of your time to tell you that type 2 diabetes is 100% curable. And every other form of diabetes, which is like a spectrum, all the way down to type 1, every other type of diabetic is dramatically improved by a change in diet. Would you allow me to have a few minutes to talk to you about this? And the medications are very, very dangerous. It's been shown, this is without any dissension at all. There's nothing that says otherwise. It's been shown that aggressive treatment of diabetes with medications, the pills and insulin, increases the risk of death, heart disease, sudden death, hypoglycemia, and causes them to gain weight. And if you would like to see all that research, it's on my website. It's called The Easy Treatment of Diabetes. You just go to the search engine. I think it's my December 2009 newsletter, but I can't remember exactly. But you just go to the search engine and type in diabetes and all the research on what you can do with diet and how dangerous these drugs are. You know, they're so dangerous they should be pulled off the market, and the people who sell them should be put in prison. Did I say that? I guess I said that. Because they know how dangerous these drugs are, and they just don't do anything about it.
Thank you.
Hi, Dr. McDougall. My name is Karen. First, I'd like to say thank you for your generosity with your time and your expertise. Can you hear me okay?
I hear you okay. If maybe you got to the mic a little closer, I can hear you better.
Okay. I spoke with you before. I have HBFL, and your plan has helped me tremendously from a 24-hour urine protein of 4,800 to 200.
What was the number?
4,800 to 200.
That went from 4,800 down to 40. What was the number of your cholesterol?
No,
Or your weight?
24-hour urine protein. From
Okay.
4,800 to 200.
Okay, good. I didn't quite understand that, but good anyway.
24-hour urine protein.
Oh, I got you. Okay, I understand. Yes, thank you.
4,800 to 200.
I do understand, and that's just tremendous, and simply by changing your diet. And were your doctors impressed?
They keep telling me it's something else. But anyway, but my question is, because I am very salt sensitive and I try to limit my salt, don't you worry about my diet?